Long ago, in a small African village near the Great Savannah, there lived a young woman named Zara. She was known for her kindness and strength. Zara helped everyone in the village. She would carry water from the river, gather firewood, and take care of the children. Her spirit was gentle, but her eyes held a fierceness that many admired. One day, while Zara was out gathering herbs deep in the forest, she heard a strange sound. It was a low growl, something unfamiliar. She paused, her heart racing, and looked around, but there was no one in sight. The trees stood still, and the wind was silent. Then, without warning, a great lioness appeared from the shadows. Zara stood frozen, her basket of herbs slipping from her hands. The lioness had eyes that gleamed in the dim light, but instead of attacking, the great cat just watched her, as if studying her. Slowly, the lioness walked closer, circling her with quiet steps. "Why are you here, human?" a voice whispered. But it wasn't Zara's voice. It was the voice of the lioness. Zara gasped. "Did you just speak?" The lioness nodded, her golden eyes calm. "I am not just any lioness. I am the spirit guardian of this land. Few humans see me, and even fewer survive to tell the tale. But I see something in you, Zara. You are different." Zara could barely believe her ears. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The lioness sat, her tail swaying slowly. "You have a heart that is both gentle and strong. There is a power inside you, one you have not yet discovered. But the time has come." Zara shook her head, stepping back. "I'm just a simple woman. How can I have any power?" The lioness tilted her head. "You will see soon. But know this, a great challenge is coming to your village. You must be ready. The strength of a lioness lives within you, but it will not be easy to control." Before Zara could ask any more questions, the lioness stood and began to fade into the forest. "Wait," Zara called out. "What challenge? What must I do?" But the lioness was already gone, leaving Zara alone in the quiet forest. She stood there for a long time, her mind racing with questions. What did the lioness mean? How could she have power she didn't know about? When Zara returned to the village, everything seemed normal. The sun was setting, and the villagers were busy with their evening routines. But inside her heart, Zara felt different. She couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to happen. That night, Zara had strange dreams. In her dreams, she was running across the savannah, her feet barely touching the ground. Her body was powerful and strong, and she could hear the wind rushing past her ears. But when she looked down, she realized she was no longer human. Her hands had become paws, and her skin was covered in golden fur. She had become a lioness. Zara woke up with a start, her heart pounding. Sweat covered her forehead, and her hands were shaking. Was it just a dream? Or was it something more? She remembered the lioness's words. "The strength of a lioness lives within you." The next morning, Zara felt uneasy. As she helped her neighbors, fetched water, and worked in the fields, the same thought kept coming back to her. What if the dream was real? What if the lioness's power was inside her? Just before sunset, Zara decided to return to the forest. She needed answers. As she walked through the trees, she felt something strange in the air. It was as if the forest was watching her, waiting for something to happen. Suddenly, without warning, Zara's body tensed. A deep growl escaped her throat, surprising her. She looked around, confused, but no one was there. Her heart began to race, and then, in an instant, her body started to change. Her muscles grew stronger, her senses sharpened, and her skin began to shift. In that moment, Zara understood. The lioness's power had awakened inside her. She had become something more than human. Zara stood in the heart of the forest, her body trembling as the transformation settled in. Her hands had become powerful paws, and her senses were sharper than ever before. She could hear the distant rustling of leaves, the soft call of birds overhead, and even the faintest breath of the wind. It was as if she had become one with the land. Her heart raced with fear and excitement. The lioness had spoken the truth. She had the strength of a lioness within her. But what now? What was she supposed to do with this power? Zara closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could feel the raw energy inside her, a force unlike anything she had ever known. Her mind swirled with thoughts, questions, and doubts. The lioness's words echoed in her ears. You are ready, but it will not be easy to control. She needed guidance. Zara had always been a kind, humble woman, never one for violence or aggression. Yet here she was, with the heart of a lioness. What if she hurt someone? What if the power overwhelmed her? Determined to find answers, Zara began to run. Her feet moved swiftly over the ground, faster than any human could. She felt the wind rush through her fur as she leaped over fallen branches and darted between trees. The forest seemed to open up to her, responding to her presence. As Zara ran deeper into the forest, she saw flashes of movement, shadowy figures darting between the trees. She slowed, her senses alert. Then, from the shadows, appeared the lioness, walking toward her with slow, deliberate steps. You have come far, Zara, the lioness said, her voice calm but powerful. The power is within you now, but to master it, you must understand its nature. Zara looked at the lioness, her heart still racing. I don't know what to do. How can I control this strength? I'm afraid I'll hurt someone. The lioness tilted her head, studying Zara carefully. The power of the lioness is not one of violence, but of protection. It is the strength to defend what is right, to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. It is a heart full of courage, not anger. Zara nodded, taking in the lioness's words. She didn't want to cause harm, but she could feel the fire burning within her. She understood now. This power was meant for something greater. It was meant to protect, to defend her people, and the land she loved. Then I will use it to protect my village, Zara said firmly. But what challenge do I face? What is coming? The lioness's eyes grew serious. A great darkness is coming. Your village will be threatened by those who seek to destroy it, to take away everything your people have worked for. You must be ready to fight, Zara. The strength within you will be your weapon, but your heart will be your guide. Before Zara could ask any more questions, the lioness began to fade into the forest, her form blending with the trees. You will know when the time comes, the lioness said softly. Trust your heart. Zara stood alone in the clearing, her mind filled with both fear and resolve. She understood now. Her village was in danger, and she was the one chosen to protect it. But how could she prepare for such a battle? What if she was not strong enough? As Zara made her way back to the village, the setting sun painted the sky in shades of red and gold. The village seemed peaceful, but Zara knew something was coming. She could feel it deep in her bones. The peaceful life she had known would soon be shattered, and she would have to face her greatest challenge yet. That night, Zara lay awake in her small hut, her mind racing with thoughts of the lioness, the power inside her, and the danger that loomed. She knew that her life had changed forever, but she still wasn't sure if she was ready for what was to come. All she could do was trust the lioness's words and wait for the day when she would have to fight to save her people. The next morning, Zara awoke with a new sense of purpose. She would prepare herself. She would train her body and her mind, ready to face whatever darkness was coming. She would not let fear control her. The lioness had given her strength, and now it was up to her to use it wisely. As Zara stepped out of her hut, the village seemed quieter than usual. The people went about their daily tasks, unaware of the storm that was brewing. But Zara could feel it in the air, and she knew that the time for action was drawing near. Zara had trained for this moment her entire life, but nothing could prepare her for the sight before her. As she stood at the edge of the forest, The setting sun painted the sky in dark hues of red and orange, warning her that danger was near. The village, once peaceful, now buzzed with fear. A group of strangers, armed men on horseback, were nearing the village. Zara could hear their voices in the distance, harsh and demanding. The villagers, frightened, gathered in the village square, unsure of what to do. Zara knew that the time had come. The lioness's power had been given to her for a reason, to protect. But could she truly wield it? She could feel the weight of responsibility in her chest. The lioness had told her she was ready, but how would she know if she was? Without another thought, Zara ran into the forest. She called out to the lioness in her heart, summoning the strength she had felt before. The transformation overtook her like a wave. Her body shifted, fur growing, muscles rippling as she became a lioness once again. She felt the wild power surge within her. With her senses heightened, Zara stalked through the trees, her eyes fixed on the invaders. They had reached the village gates. Their leader, a tall man with a cold smile, was speaking to the villagers. "Surrender your land and everything you have," he commanded. "Otherwise, we will take it all." The villagers cowered before him. But Zara, now a lioness, knew she could not let them suffer. She took a deep breath and let out a mighty roar that echoed through the valley, sending chills through the invaders. The leader spun around, eyes wide with shock. But before he could react, Zara was on him. She leapt from the shadows, landing with a heavy thud in the center of their group. Her claws flashed as she slashed at the nearest warrior, sending him tumbling to the ground. Her teeth snapped, catching another enemy off guard. They were not prepared for the strength of a lioness. Zara fought with every ounce of her being, her heart filled with courage and a deep love for her people. The invaders were strong, but they could not match her speed and power. She was the protector, and nothing would stand in her way. The battle raged on, but Zara was unstoppable. One by one, the invaders fell. Their leader tried to flee, but Zara chased him down. With a roar that shook the ground, she pounced, knocking him to the dirt. Her teeth bared, she pinned him down, the strength of the lioness coursing through her. "I told you," Zara growled, her voice a mix of power and warning. "This village will never be taken." With that, the invaders retreated. The leader begged for mercy, but Zara showed no mercy. She let him go with a warning, "Never return." As the last of the invaders fled, Zara stood in the middle of the village square, her form slowly shifting back into her human shape. The villagers who had watched the battle unfold in awe rushed toward her, their faces filled with gratitude. She had saved them. She had protected everything they held dear. Zara, exhausted but triumphant, walked toward the center of the village. She was no longer just the woman she once was. She had become the guardian of her people, the lioness who had defended them from harm. She had learned that strength was not just about power. It was about knowing when to fight and when to show mercy. As the sun set, Zara stood tall, surrounded by the people she loved. She knew that her journey had only just begun. There would always be challenges ahead, but she was ready. With the lioness's strength within her and the love of her people by her side, she would face whatever came her way. And so, Zara became a legend, a woman who transformed into a lioness to protect her people. Her story would be told for generations, a story of courage, strength, and the heart of a protector. The woman who became a lioness had proven that true strength comes not from fear or violence, but from love and the courage to defend those who cannot defend themselves.